Okay, yo. So just feel like I need to come on here and encourage somebody today. You know, God told me to encourage somebody today. Alright, so yesterday I was at the gas station and I saw this tree and it caught my eye, and I thought it was like a really nice tree. I was like, Lord, what? A nice tree? This tree looks great, you know? And what crossed my mind was, imagine if that tree did not grow. Imagine if that tree, maybe it was cut down before and it still chose to grow. Imagine all the pruning that tree had to go through. Maybe it lost a few leaves, a few branches, and it still grew. And I was like, Lord, well, it's a beautiful tree, but I don't know what that tree had to go through in order to grow. And I feel like God took it a bit, like a step further this morning. Because it was really just a thought that passed by as I was sitting down and looking outside. But I feel like he took it a step further, this morning, and reminded me that trees, plants, whatever, they need certain conditions in order to grow. And one of the things I was thinking about this morning was praise. Even though praise may be harder to do in a rough season than complaining, it reaps greater results than complaining does. And I feel like now making the correlation that God wanted me to see was that there's certain conditions that you need in a rough place. Remember I said, imagine if that tree was cut down, but because it had the right conditions to grow, it grew. But let me tell you something. Growth, most importantly, is a choice. Growth is a choice. However, you can accelerate your growth, and your growth can be sure once you are put in the right conditions. And sometimes the right conditions may not be what we think they are, but God knows exactly what we need in order to grow. And He wants us to grow. And that's why the tree had to go through pruning. That's why sometimes the tree had to lose and shed off the dead leaves. That's why maybe the tree needed to be cut down for a particular purpose and a reason. But once it grows, it can provide shelter for others. It can provide support for others. Because a bird came and flew into the tree, sorry. I was like, Lord, whoa. If this tree did not grow, would it be able to provide support? Would it be able to provide shelter? Would it be able to stand tall and just, others behold at its beauty? So those were the thoughts that passed my mind between yesterday and today. You need the right conditions to grow. And then the wrong conditions can stunt your growth. So assess your surroundings, your environment, and ask God to put you in the right conditions, the right places, the right environment, surround you with the right people so that you can grow. It's necessary for your growth. Secondly, in order to provide support and shelter for others, you need to grow. You need to come into the fruition of a full tree. You need to grow. You need to grow. Oh yeah, die to your flesh. You need to grow. You need to grow, right? And you need the right conditions in order to grow. So all that came from a tree. All that came from a tree. But no, seriously though, really imagine, I don't know what that tree had to go through or what that tree went through, but it grew. And I think that's the lesson. Grow amiss, grow in spite, grow through.